In a secluded corner of a vast and verdant forest, there was a small and mighty mouse named Sharp. Born into a family renowned for their bravery and warrior prowess, Sharp had an indomitable spirit that was evident from a very young age. However, in her family, the expectations were clear: the males were the hunters and protectors, while the females were seen as caretakers and supporters. Despite her fiery spirit and tireless practice, Sharp was constantly overlooked and underestimated simply because she was a female. Sharp's family was led by her father, Bristle, a legendary warrior whose name sent shivers through the forest. Her three older brothers, Thorn, Spike, and Blade, had already earned their reputations as skilled hunters and fierce fighters. Sharp admired them deeply, often watching them train with a mixture of awe and yearning. Whenever she could, she would mimic their moves, practicing her skills with unwavering determination. She crafted her own tiny weapons from twigs and stones, honing her agility and strength in secret. One morning, as the first light of dawn pierced through the forest canopy, Bristle gathered his sons for another hunting expedition. Sharp, as always, was left behind, her heart heavy with disappointment. "Stay home, Sharp," her father said sternly. "You're not ready for the dangers of the forest." Her brothers, though fond of her, didn't take her seriously. They saw her as a liability, someone who needed protection rather than someone who could offer it. With a heavy sigh, Sharp watched them disappear into the dense foliage. She picked up her makeshift weapons and began her usual training, her determination burning brighter with each swing and jab. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the village buzzed with activity. By noon, the hunting party was expected to return, laden with food and tales of their exploits. But as the hours passed and the sun began its descent, worry started to spread through the village. Bristle and his sons were still not back. Whispers of fear and speculation filled the air. Had they been attacked by predators? Had they lost their way? The elders convened, their faces etched with concern. "We can't afford to lose more of our warriors," one elder said gravely. "But we can't leave them out there either." Sharp listened, her heart pounding in her chest. She couldn't bear the thought of her family in danger. Gathering her courage, she stood up and addressed the elders. "I'll go find them," she declared, her voice steady and resolute. The elders exchanged doubtful glances. "You're brave, Sharp," one said gently, "but you're not ready for the forest's dangers." Sharp's eyes blazed with determination. "I've trained for this my whole life. I won't let my family down." Despite their misgivings, the elders could see the fire in her eyes. They reluctantly agreed, though they warned her of the peril she faced. Armed with her tiny weapons and a heart full of resolve, Sharp set off into the forest. The forest was a daunting place, full of shadows and unknown dangers. Sharp moved swiftly and silently, her senses heightened. She followed the trail her family had taken, her keen eyes scanning for any signs of trouble. Hours passed, and the challenges came swiftly. She faced treacherous terrain, fierce predators, and the ever-present threat of getting lost. But Sharp's training had not been in vain. She used her agility to dodge dangers, her wit to outsmart predators, and her determination to push through the exhaustion. As night fell, Sharp came across signs of a struggle: broken branches, disturbed earth, and scattered belongings. Her heart tightened with fear, but she pressed on. Following the trail, she soon heard faint sounds of movement. Creeping closer, she saw a terrifying sight: her father and brothers, bound and surrounded by a pack of feral cats, led by a particularly large and menacing feline named Claw. Claw was infamous in the forest for his ruthless nature. He was gloating over his captives, his eyes gleaming with malice. "Thought you could hunt in my territory, did you?" he snarled. "Now you'll pay the price." Sharp's mind raced. She needed a plan, and fast. She knew she couldn't defeat Claw and his pack in a direct fight. Instead, she relied on her cunning. She crept to the edge of the clearing and began to create a distraction. Using a piece of bark, she mimicked the sound of a rival predator, a sound that echoed menacingly through the forest. The cats froze, their ears twitching in alarm. "What was that?" one of them hissed. The sound repeated, closer this time. Panic set in among the cats, and they started to scatter, convinced that a bigger threat was approaching. In the chaos, Sharp darted forward, using her small size to her advantage. She quickly gnawed through the ropes binding her father and brothers. Bristle and his sons were astonished to see Sharp standing before them. "Sharp! What are you doing here?" Bristle exclaimed. "No time to explain," Sharp replied, her voice urgent. "We need to get out of here now." Freed from their bonds, the warriors gathered their strength and, following Sharp's lead, slipped away into the shadows. They moved swiftly and silently, avoiding the panicked cats and making their way back towards the village. As they ran, Bristle looked at his daughter with newfound respect. She had not only saved them but had done so with a bravery and skill that none of them had anticipated. When they finally emerged from the forest, the village erupted in cheers and relief. The elders and villagers rushed to greet them, their eyes wide with wonder as they listened to the tale of Sharp's daring rescue. Bristle stood before the gathered crowd, his voice filled with pride. "Sharp is no longer just my daughter," he declared. "She is a warrior, as brave and capable as any of us. From this day forward, she will stand with us, hunt with us, and protect our village." The villagers cheered, their voices ringing through the forest. Sharp stood tall, her heart swelling with pride. She had proven herself, not just to her family, but to the entire village. No longer would she be looked down upon or underestimated. Her courage and determination had earned her a place among the warriors, and she knew that she would continue to fight for her family and her home with all her heart. From that day on, Sharp's name was spoken with respect and admiration. She trained alongside her brothers, honing her skills and growing stronger with each passing day. And in the heart of the forest, where shadows and dangers lurked, the legend of Sharp, the warrior mouse, grew, a tale of bravery, determination, and the unbreakable spirit of a true hero.